Good evening, and thank you for joining tonight's telephone town hall meeting hosted by the Colorado Department of Transportation, also known as CDOT, for a discussion about your transportation plan, a statewide transportation planning effort going on right now. We are simulcasting tonight's event in Spanish, and I'm going to pause and ask our translator to make a quick announcement. Go ahead.
Saludos. Si desean participar en español, por favor oprima el asterisco y luego el 0.
Gracias. I'm Roger, and I'll be your moderator tonight as we talk about transportation in Denver, Arapahoe, and Douglas counties. Our panel members tonight include Transportation Commissioners Eula Adams and Jessica Olguin, and the CDOT Regional Transportation Director for the Denver metropolitan area, Jessica Mickelbust. Before we begin, I want to take just a moment to tell you about the format for tonight's interactive call. We want to hear from you, so if you would like to ask the panel a question or make a comment, please press star 3 on your telephone keypad, and you will be transferred to an operator who will take down some basic information. Once the operator notes your information, you'll be returned to the call and can listen to the conversation until you are called upon. So press star 3 on your keypad to ask a question or make a comment. We're going to have several thousand people listening tonight, so I recommend getting in line early so we are sure to get to your question. If you would like to view slides that accompany tonight's call, log on to CDOT's YouTube page at yourtransportationplan.com. Again, yourtransportationplan.com. Additionally, CDOT has launched a 2050 statewide plan survey that you can take, and that survey is also available at yourtransportationplan.com. If you didn't have a pen or pencil ready nearby, grab one now, and I'll repeat the links in just a couple of minutes. Since our panel would like to hear from as many people as possible, we will limit all callers to just one question, and when it's your turn, I'll call your name and ask you to repeat your question for our live audience. Since we will be, we will be asking 4 important polling questions later during the call, and I'll explain that process to you in a few minutes. Now, before we get to your questions and introduce our panelists, I would like to turn it over to our Transportation Commissioners, Eula Adams and Jessica Olguin, for some introductions. Let's start with Commissioner Adams. Go ahead.
Thank you, Roger. This is Transportation Commissioner Eula Adams. I've been a Colorado Transportation Commissioner since August of 2019, representing Arapahoe and Douglas counties. The Transportation Commission of Colorado makes policy for the management, construction, and maintenance of public highways and other transportation systems in Colorado. I am fortunate to represent the areas in which I call home. I can take recommendations directly to the governor and the General Assembly while working with CDOT to prioritize construction priorities. And now let's hear from Commissioner Jessica Hogan.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. This is Commissioner Jessica Olguin. I've been a Colorado Transportation Commissioner since August 2021, representing Denver County. I am the Executive Director of the Center for Community Wealth Building, and my professional focus areas include small business development, racial equity, and sustainability. I look forward to making sure that our region has a unified voice when it comes to advocating for the unique transportation needs of this area. Thank you for being here tonight and allowing me the opportunity to hear from you so we can produce a transportation plan that benefits us all. Now, I'll let Jessica Mickelbust, RTD for Region 1, introduce herself. As a reminder, please press star 3 to join the queue and ask a question. We want to hear from you.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is Jessica Mickelbust. As a Colorado native, I have watched Colorado's transportation system grow and change over many decades. My 25 years working as a leader and strategic collaborator in the transportation industry, with 8 years in CDOT, and my position as the regional director, I'm able to ensure the safety of the traveling public and plan for construction and maintenance of the vast Region 1 system. Every 4 years, CDOT reviews Colorado's transportation needs and creates a plan to guide future investments, and we need your help. Our transportation dollars are limited, and with a state as large and diverse as Colorado, we want your feedback on CDOT's priorities and how to best distribute our limited resources. CDOT's first priority is to fix our roads. We know potholes don't fix themselves, and that safer, smoother roads mean fewer accidents, lower repair bills, and better quality of life. Our second priority is advancing transportation safety. Everyone deserves to get home safely, whether by driving, walking, biking, or riding transit. Transportation safety isn't optional, it's essential. Our third priority is to sustainably increase transportation choice. This means ensuring people have transportation options to get where they need to go. And the more ways we can move without a car, the cleaner the air is that we all breathe. Your participation in this evening's event is helping us develop a transportation plan that benefits everyone, and we want to thank you for taking the time to be here to share your thoughts. So let us know what's working well and what can be improved. We are looking forward to hearing your questions and comments, so please press *3 to get in the queue. Please press *3 to join the queue and ask a question.
All right, thanks everyone. We are looking forward to tonight's discussion and to answering your questions. This call is all about listening to you and harnessing the wisdom that you bring to the conversation. So let's get started by asking our first polling question about CDOT's priority to fix our roads. Fixing our roads means prioritizing strategic investments in Colorado's highways to improve infrastructure conditions. It's easy to participate. All you have to do is use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. So here is that first question. What is your biggest concern with the current condition of our roads? Press 1 for potholes and surface damage. Press 2 for lack of maintenance or repaving. Press 3 for poor bridge conditions. And press 4 for none of the above. Record your vote now. We'll share the results with you in a few minutes. And while you're voting, as a reminder, press *3. We'd really like to see, if you're one of those none of the above folks, we'd like to hear from you so that we know what is your priority if it's not one of the 3 that we listed. Let's turn it back over to Commissioner Olguin. Would you tell us a little more about challenges and accomplishments in the area?
Yes, CDOT, in close coordination with the Denver Area Council of Governments, also known as Dr. COG, and its member cities and counties, strives to continue to develop a regional transportation system that is well connected, serves all modes of travel, and is safe, reliable, and well maintained. Our region is a diverse network of vibrant, connected communities with a broad spectrum of housing, transportation, and employment, complemented by world-class natural and built environments. The foundation of a sustainable and resilient economy relies heavily on an efficient and well-connected transportation system, where all residents have access to a range of transportation options and investments in infrastructure that allow people and businesses to thrive and prosper. Employment is estimated to continue to rise for our region, along with an increased number of both people and the movement of goods and services. Having a safe and efficient transportation system continues to be critical. The anticipated growth requires CDOT to take a serious look at providing the traveling public with more transportation options. Through this planning effort, we have to keep all of those factors in mind as we talk about needs. And you, the traveling public, are critical to this conversation.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Again, *3 if you have a question or a comment. You'll be connected to an operator who will get you in the queue. Here are the results of our first survey question. The question was, what is your biggest concern with the current condition of our roads? 58% of you said potholes and surface damage. 24% selected lack of maintenance or repaving. 11% said poor bridge conditions. And 7% said none of the above. Please get in the queue so we can hear what your concerns are with the condition of our roads. Before we take our first question, we are going to ask our second polling question. As a reminder, just use your telephone keypad to enter the number of your response. Our next question is about CDOT's priority to advance transportation safety. This means no matter where you're going or how you're getting there, Colorado is committed to providing you a safe and efficient transportation network so you arrive at your destination safely. Here is the question. What is your biggest safety concern? Press 1 for speeding or reckless driving. Press 2 for lack of sidewalks, bike lanes, or safe access to public transportation. Press 3 for dangerous intersections or crosswalks. Press 4 for winter weather driving. And press 5 for wildlife collisions. So again, 1 for speeding or reckless driving, 2 for lack of sidewalks, bike lanes, or safe access to public transportation, 3 for dangerous intersections or crosswalks, 4 for winter weather driving, or 5 for wildlife collisions. Record your answer now, and we'll share those results with you in just a few minutes. And we are going to now take our first question from William. Go ahead, William.
Yes, hi. I'm wondering if there's going to be any rate increases, and how is any of this going to affect, like, the budget per se, or what have you?
Well, thank you for the question, William. I am currently a member of the Colorado Transportation Investment Office. And for those of you who may not know, that is a unit of CDOT, but it is a separate unit that is responsible for our express lanes and toll roads. And that organization is all toll rates are determined by, as I said, Colorado Transportation Investment Office for express lanes and by the E-470 Public Highway Authority for E-470. Regarding express lane, toll rates are based on ensuring a reliable trip in the express lane. Also, CDOT has an enterprise to manage that. The CTIO, the enterprise I'm referring to, helps finance and construct the state's express lanes, such as those on I-70 and I-25. The CTIO considers toll rates to ensure that the express lanes remain relatively uncongested. And we know how important it is to have the option to get where you need to go faster. And CDOT looks at all toll rates annually and makes adjustments to ensure that lanes do not get too congested. Now, just to add to this response, we're introducing something called dynamic pricing. And dynamic pricing is designed in a way that we can gauge the amount of traffic on the primary lanes and the amount of traffic in the toll lanes. And we can adjust the rates almost immediately on the fly so that we can improve the flow in the express lanes and improve the flow generally. So during time frames when there's lots of traffic, we can raise the rates. When there are time frames when there isn't as heavy utilization, we can lower them. So that's basically the way we set the rates. And I hope that's responsive.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's go to Tom next. Tom, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for doing this. This is great. My main concern is Interstate 270. The amount of traffic that goes over that is horrendous. It could use another lane or possibly another route to get to, say, 36 for people that go up into the northern part of Denver. That's bad. And my second one has to do with the intersection of entrance ramp to I-70 and Chambers Road. That is so rough. It's in terrible shape. It really needs that. The amount of truck traffic that goes over that is also extremely high volume. And if I'm coming back from Highlands Ranch, it's terrible. So I would like to know if that's on you guys' roadmap for making things better in the area. Thank you for taking my question.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, 270 can be a difficult drive at times. And so currently we are doing an environmental impact statement looking at several alternatives along the I-270 corridor, including the addition of an express lane. And this project will also include, regardless, replacing all of the bridges that are deteriorating and beyond their useful life. This will include a resurfacing and reconstruction of the main corridor as well, which should take care of those bumps and rough areas that you are talking about. And we would anticipate, hopefully, starting construction on this project within the next several years. Regarding your comments about I-70 in Chambers, we have a team of maintenance workers that regularly patrol the areas looking for potholes and doing guardrail and critical safety repairs. So we will always be out looking for those items and making sure that the roads are in the safest condition. Thanks so much for your question.
All right, let's hear from Miriam next. Miriam, go right ahead.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Thank you for taking my question. Thank you for doing this. So my thing is, actually, I am not a driver. I don't drive, but I ride a medical scooter. My concern is that the sidewalks are so bad here in the area that I live in, north central Denver, at the Rhino neighborhood. A lot of the streets are so bad that sidewalks are so bad that I have to ride my scooter in the street. The thing is that I'm afraid that one of the cars going to hit me because medical scooters are slow. I'm disabled, so I ride a medical scooter. And they're so slow that I feel like a driver can hit me. The thing is, some of the streets here that I appreciate have lanes, bicycle lanes, that I can ride my scooter on, but not all the streets have that. And I'm wondering if they can, and how are they going to implement, can they implement separate lane for, a bike lane?
All right, thank you. Who's going to take that? Jessica, go ahead.
Miriam, thank you so much for your question. We recognize that there's a lot of improvements needed. Our projects do include improving or building ADA ramps for projects, and this is an important part of our transportation plan to provide safe transportation alternatives for all travelers. There's different areas where we are looking at improving or building those ramps, and there's also areas where bike lanes are we're continuing to look at how bike lanes can help support a transportation system that works for all. But we do recognize that this is an area where we will continue to grow. Thank you for your question.
Great questions. Thank you. One more, this time from Nate. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, I'm a sustainability graduate here in Colorado, and my question is on alternative transportation. Obviously, you're talking about toll lanes on 25 and 36. Do you have any plans for adding rail or other things going north? I frequent relatives that are on North I-25, and even on a weekend with no major event, there are sections, especially north of Denver, towards the Costco and further up, where it's a bit of a pinch point, and it becomes heavy traffic, wild drivers, stuff like that, where, becomes dangerous. And so I just was wondering if you guys ever had a plan or would consider adding something for those transit populations that live somewhere else and commute into Denver to have an alternative way of getting to and from their home and work.
Thank you, Nate. This is Commissioner Adams, and excellent question. CDOT and the state are working closely with the Front Range Passenger Rail District, which was created by the legislature to focus attention on passenger rail along the Front Range. We're currently working on the alternatives analysis, and we have an online open house so the public can see what is being considered. The online open house closes on June 15th, and the service development plan is expected in early 2026. Both of these documents will help plan out the alignment, estimated cost, and the service schedules, which will allow for the identification and of funding and a construction timeline. So it's something I think we all are excited about, and hopefully you can make one of these sessions and learn more about what we're planning to do. Thanks again for your question.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. We will get back to more questions in just a couple of minutes. For those of you that joined the call late, good evening. I'm Roger, and I'm your moderator tonight as we talk about your transportation plan, Colorado's statewide transportation planning effort, with Transportation Commissioners Eula Adams and Jessica Olgin, and CDOT Regional Director for the Denver metropolitan area, Jessica Mickelbust. You can participate in the discussion by pressing star 3 on your keypad. You'll be transferred to an operator who will take down some information and get you in line. So again, star 3 on your keypad to ask a question. We had our second survey question. Let me share the results with you now. We asked, what is your biggest safety concern? 42% of you said speeding or reckless driving. 26% said sidewalks, bike lanes, or the lack of sidewalks, bike lanes, and safe access to public transportation. 17% said dangerous intersections or crosswalks. 10% said winter weather driving, and 5% said wildlife collisions. We've got 2 more survey questions, so stick around and participate in those, please. Now, I'm happy to turn it back over to our regional director, Jessica Mickelbust, who will tell us a little bit more about recent accomplishments in the area. You've been busy, Jessica. Go ahead.
Thanks, Roger. Our Region 1 team has constructed some exciting projects focused on replacing aging infrastructure, with several more projects in the queue for construction specific to Douglas County and City and County of Denver. Some of these projects include the I-25 Greenland Wildlife Overpass. This wildlife overpass, one of the largest of its kind in the country, is under construction, located between Larkspur and Monument. Thanks to many strategic partnerships, wildlife vehicle crashes along this stretch of I-25 are anticipated to reduce by 90% once completed. Another project along I-25 in the Denver area, the I-25 and Alameda Bridge Replacement Project. Originally built in 1911, this bridge was the oldest on our state highway system. In addition to bringing the bridge up to current bridge standards and flood capacities, the new bridge provides multimodal improvements for the benefit of drivers, bicyclists, and pedestrians, and connections to the South Platte River Trail. As I mentioned earlier, work is continuing on our I-270 corridor, with specific focus on replacing deteriorating bridges while ensuring that community voices are heard and incorporated into the ultimate design. If you ever drive I-70 up to the mountains, you may have noticed that we are literally moving mountains along the mountain corridor. The Floyd Hill project is well underway, and we are working to replace aging infrastructure and improve safety. Coming soon this fall, you'll see construction of the viaduct, which is a segmental bridge, and it will be an engineering feat to observe. Please remember, drive safely in the construction zone.
All right, thank you. Let's get to our third polling question. Again, to participate, just use your telephone keypad to enter your response. Another of CDOT's main goals is to sustainably increase transportation choice, which means providing alternatives to single-occupancy vehicle travel that increase choice and reduce air pollution from transportation. Here is that question. What transportation options would you like to see more of? Press 1 for public transit, things like bus, trains, etc. Press 2 for walking or biking infrastructure. Press 3 for rideshare or microtransit, things like on-demand shuttles. Press 4 for safer or more accessible streets for people with disabilities. And press 5 for none. You prefer driving. So 1 for public transit, 2 for walking or biking infrastructure, 3 for rideshare or microtransit, 4 for safer or more accessible streets for people with disabilities, and 5 for none of the above. And again, if you'd like to ask a question or give us feedback about what sustainably increasing transportation choice means to you, please press *3. Let's get back to questions. And we're going to hear from Mary next. Mary, go ahead.
Hi. I was just going to kind of piggyback off of what Marianne and Nate kind of were asking. It seems that there's a need for alternative transportation options, such as reliable, affordable, and safe rail options, not just for commuters, but for getting to and from some of Denver's various neighborhoods, encouraging foot traffic, bikes, and transportation for people who don't primarily rely on cars. Is this something that the city is considering? Is this in any of the plans? Thanks for taking my question.
Well, hello, Mary, and thank you for asking that question. The response that I'd like to offer up is the City of Aurora is currently preparing a citywide multimodal transportation plan connecting Aurora to, in part, improve travel options within and beyond the city. Additionally, the Denver Regional Council of Government, or DRCOG, and Aurora are currently leading the Colfax Bus Rapid Transit, or what you may know as Colorado BRT. The next study to extend the Bus Rapid Transit on Colfax Avenue from the current project's end at I-25 and the rail line east to E-470 Piccadilly. So those are some of the things that are being planned. Much work to be done. And thanks again for asking your question.
All right, Bob is next. Go right ahead with your question.
Well, I'm just reinforcing what's already been said about the importance of more and safer bike lanes to encourage bicycle transportation through the city. If we can be successful with that, that means getting cars off the road and helping with pollution and safety.
Thank you for your question, Bob. This is Commissioner Olguin. Both CDOT and the Denver Regional Council of Governments, or DRCOG, are currently preparing active transportation plans that prioritize strategies for both bicycle and pedestrian safety. Additionally, both strategies prioritize projects on state highways and other roadways to improve safety for all travelers, including cyclists. The 23rd and Spear project is an example of where we're incorporating bike and pedestrian amenities in the Denver area. The existing structure has limited amenities for bikes and pets, and the ultimate build will have protected bike lanes and wide walks to cross I-25. Thank you for your question.
Okay, we're going to hear from Laurel next. Go right ahead.
Hi there. Thank you so much for doing this town hall. I guess I am one in a long line of folks who are mostly reiterating a need for better and safer and more accessible transport for people who would prefer not to drive. I guess the only thing I could add to the conversation would be to ask, or rather, I guess, to give my comment, which is that I think if you want to encourage people to use public transportation, the only way to do that is to disincentivize driving. And I'm wondering what kinds of plans CDOT and Denver are looking at to encourage people to set their cars aside. So.
Thank you, Laurel.
Laurel, this is Commissioner Adams on your question, and I think that we're not trying to create negative incentives on things, but we're trying to create positive. So what we are doing is we're working, again, with DRCOG and other organizations, and we're working on the federal and the Colorado Boulevard Bus Rapid Transit projects, as we've previously mentioned, and both of those are in the study phases, and we're encouraging lots of citizen participation, and we're holding lots of meetings. So these projects would provide high frequency and more efficient public transportation services in some of the most highly traveled corridors. And that's really the essence of the planning that we're trying to do, to encourage people to put their vehicles aside and to try this transportation option. Thank you again for the question.
Okay, we're going to go to Michael next. Michael, go ahead.
Hello. I want to thank you for taking my call. Just want to call attention to an area of I-25 south of Castle Rock to Larkspur. I have the pass and on my car, and several times in the past I've been tailgated by people driving really excessively fast and then losing their composure or bearing when they get to pass me. I don't want to cross the double lines. My question is there any way that you could, get advertising to deter the speeding on that section of highway? Because some people seem to use that as a license for speeding really fast. And or is there a plan to, put like speed monitoring equipment just to, temper some people's foot on their pedals? That's my question. I'd like to hear back from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. I share your concern about speeding along the I-25 corridor. The area currently uses speed enforcement by aircraft, so we really rely on enforcement to support encouraging drivers to go the speed limit. We're also looking at implementing variable speed signage in the near future to be more in line with real-time traffic flow and roadway conditions. And what variable speed signage does is the speed limit kind of changes as people are driving. If there's heavy traffic, the speed limits might slow. As traffic is more free-flowing, the speed limits might increase. A lot of the new vehicles also have technology where they will indicate if you're going over the speed limit, which is always helpful to use technology. One of the other things I mentioned earlier that we do want to make sure people are paying attention, I mentioned the Greenland Wildlife Crossing, which is a construction zone. So please be aware that people driving through the construction zone, the speed limits will be slower. So thanks for your continued concerns about speeding. We definitely share those with you.
All right, thank you. Let's take, first let me share the results with you of the third polling question. We asked, what transportation options would you like to see more of? 42% said public transit, buses, trains, etc. 19% said none, you prefer to drive. 14% said safer or more accessible streets for people with disabilities. 13% selected rideshare or microtransit. And 12% said walking or biking infrastructure. Thank you for that input. Let's go back and ask our final polling question. Remember to participate. Use your telephone keypad to enter your response. And here is that final question. Of CDOT's 3 main priority areas discussed tonight, what do you think CDOT's top priority should be? Press 1 for fixing our roads. Press 2 for advancing transportation safety. Press 3 for sustainably increasing transportation choices. So again, 1 for fixing our roads, 2 for advancing transportation safety, and 3 for sustainably increasing transportation choices. I want to just also mention real quick that if you don't want to speak to an operator, or you need to leave the call early but have a thought, a question, a comment, you can leave us a message by pressing star 9. So star 9 you will exit the conversation but be directed to a voicemail system and can leave us your comments or questions. So star 3 to ask a question live and be directed to our operator, or star 9 to leave us a voice message. You can also provide CDOT with feedback via the online survey at yourtransportationplan.com. So we are now going to take some more questions. We've got a whole bunch of people lined up, so I'm going to ask both you as the audience and our panelists to be brief in your questions and answers so we can get to as many of you as possible. Dawn is next. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think that the Interstate 70 going over from Denver to Grand Junction is kind of a disaster, especially in the wintertime, but a lot of the other times it's a big mess. And it seems like a lot of the problems are caused by truckers, and we have a railroad that goes across there, and I'm not sure why we can't just have, more intermodal transport going across the Moffat Tunnel and maybe increasing the fees on truckers driving up there. And also, maybe we should have some kind of light rail going up to some of the ski areas. And I know we're doing a little bit of that, but I think that we should have some of that going on. So that's all I had. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Don, this is Commissioner Adams. Thank you for asking your question, and in the spirit of trying to get as many questions in, I'll try and be brief. Good observation. We've certainly been looking at it, but I will say that what we're doing today, CDOT offers a regional bus service, as you know, called Bustang, and a service called Pegasus that serves the I-70 mountain corridor specifically. And we are spending a lot of time on a mountain rail initiative. Not a lot to say about that today, but we are looking at the very ideas that you were suggesting. Thank you again for your question.
All right. Let's go next to Wendy. Thanks for your patience. Go right ahead.
Hi there. I'm a resident of Longmont, and Longmont residents since 2005 have been paying a special tax for the basically
Wendy, we lost you there. Are you still with us?
I'm here. Yes.
All right, repeat that question one more time. We lost transmission with you.
Sorry about that. I live in Longmont, and since 2005, Longmont residents have been paying a special tax for a specific train service, a fast track train service between Denver and Longmont. It's my understanding that as of 2025, we've paid over $100 million in taxes specifically for a train between Longmont and Denver, but nothing has materialized. Is there anyone from RTD that can answer what the plans are for this? And is there any light at the end of that tunnel?
Wendy, this is Commissioner Holguin. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody from RTD. However, the Front Range Passenger Rail District is pursuing a joint service delivery plan with RTD, which will prioritize the Front Range Passenger Rail segment between Denver and Longmont. This will combine RTD's commuter service with the Front Range Passenger Rail's intercity rail service and utilize RTD's existing rail where possible. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for your question.
All right, next is Darlene. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for allowing me to speak. My concern is the off and on ramp at I-70 and Pecos. I mean, it's really difficult to get through during rush hour, and it's very dangerous. You got a lot of them semis coming off the highway and not knowing where they're going. And, people not from this area, stopping in the middle of it. Are they going to do something to correct this?
Hi, Hi, Darlene. Thanks for expressing your concerns about I-70 and Pecos. I frequently drive that area myself and have observed some behavior that is not the best and most safe. Currently, CDOT is working on upgrading the ramp metering system to have a coordinated adaptive system, which we are hoping to improve the operation of the Pecos ramps. And so ramp metering those are the signals that kind of at the bottom of a ramp turn red, yellow, green and kind of cue the traffic onto and off of the highway. And the adaptive part of that is that it will coordinate with other ramp meters along the corridor. So it hopefully will slow the congestion and the flow of traffic. So thanks for your question.
All right. Thanks for those good questions. Let's go to Michelle next. Michelle, go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I don't understand how the express lanes actually increase the number of cars that get to go. I think that they're called Lexus lanes and only the rich get to go fast. And my taxpayers, maybe I'm wrong, but I think my tax dollars paid for those, and yet I have to pay again if I want to actually use them. And who actually collects those tolls? Are we still farming it out to other countries?
Michelle, thank you for asking your question. And I'm certain that there's a lot of perhaps confusion regarding our whole system of express lanes. So first of all, the express lanes are generally a product of a public-private partnership. And there is a company that actually borrows money to build those lanes that are unique to those express lanes. The other lanes are, you're right, your tax dollars fund the cost of the other lanes, but not the express lanes. So I'm going to just repeat an answer here so I don't waver too far. But the Colorado Transportation Investment Office manages the express toll lanes. Motorists have a choice to take the general purpose lanes, which are funded with tax dollars, and those are free, or they can pay the toll for a more reliable, faster trip in the express lanes, which, as I mentioned, are actually, we borrow money and we have a private investor that's managing those lanes, and we have to build a software application so that we can actually manage them. But they are not built with, as you say, public dollars. They're built with private sector dollars. We borrow money and we have to repay that money through the debt. But you can use them, but they are separate from the lanes that are built with your dollars.
I can say I love having that choice when I'm running late and can jump in one of those lanes. Let's hear next from Dawn. Dawn, thanks for your patience. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I live out on the I-70 East corridor between Watkins and Lehman. And there are a number of really dangerous potholes, and some of the overpasses are washing away a little bit. Just curious what DOT's plan is for getting these things fixed.
Thanks, Dawn. We have a lot of potholes and bridge decks in the region that we are paying close attention to make sure they are in the safest condition. CDOT has an asset management group that is constantly monitoring the state of the bridges and addressing issues that may occur. If you see an issue or a pothole on a bridge, please go to CDOT.gov. That was CDOT.gov, and you can report potholes, and our maintenance crews will get those fixed as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. Victor, you are next. Go right ahead.
I'm just calling in regards to Pena Boulevard going to DIA and coming back. If there's any future plans of widening Pena Boulevard to offset some of the traffic coming onto and off of I-70.
Victor, this is Commissioner Adams. Simply put, Pena Boulevard is owned by the city of Denver. It is not a CDOT highway. Denver, the Federal Aviation Administration, and the Denver Airport are looking at options to expand Pena Boulevard. The planning is in the conceptual phase at this time. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Miguel, it's your turn. Go right ahead with your question.
Thank you. I was just calling in regards to the front range train, the new one being proposed. And my question is, how will that tie into the existing Denver RTD setup?
Who'd like to take that?
Thanks for the question, Miguel. You're curious about the rail line up to Boulder, and this is going to be managed by RTD in coordination with CDOT. And so keep an eye out for some public engagement events that may be occurring in the near future.
Okay, Patsy is next. Go right ahead.
Yeah, my question is, how come we can't be like California, have all truckers use the right lane only, not unless they have to turn somewhere off? That would keep our bridges and our roads in better condition and the traffic flow better.
Thanks, Patsy. That's a great question. Why do the truckers use only the right lane? So earlier this year, 2 bills were passed that require new signage for commercial motor vehicles, and we will be installing that signage at specific locations along I-70 where left lane restrictions occur for trucks. So we want to make sure that those truckers are in the right lane to helping improve safety along the corridors and making travelers safer for the traveling public.
That was a great question. Thank you. Bruce, it's your turn. Go right ahead.
Hi. I live in an area that has a number of group homes where mobility challenged people live, and yet I see a lot of the scooters and rental bicycles. I know those aren't run by RTD or the city, but I think they are licensed, and quite often they are parked across the curb cuts where wheelchairs should be able to go. And it just makes me angry that I don't seem to find any sort of enforcement on how they should be parked. What is a reporting mechanism? What is the technical fines that the companies may get if they violate these? That's the general nature of my question.
All right. Thanks so much for the question, Bruce. Yeah, it is so frustrating when you're trying to use a sidewalk and there's a scooter or a bike right in your way. This really is a local issue that we rely on the local municipalities to manage and monitor the contracts they have with scooter and bike companies. So thank you for your comment.
Okay, Ed is next. Go right ahead.
Yes, my question, well, really it's a comment. You guys might not be able to answer this, but post-COVID, one of the things that increased public transit ridership was they reduced the cost. And so I want to encourage all traffic coordination to possibly implement cost reductions even down to making it free so that we get more people on public transit and more cars off the road.
Ed, thank you so much for your question. This is Commissioner Olguin. Yes, RTD instituted lower fares in 2024 that significantly simplified and reduced fares across their bus system. This also included free rides for children under 19. We know that it's a step in the right direction, and we're hoping to be able to do more of that. Unfortunately, because of resources, that's what's being done right now. I hope this helps.
And there are elected RTD directors that you should be contacting if you have questions about these kinds of things as well. So I know that commissioners talk to RTD directors, but the directors there at RTD are the decision makers in those kinds of things. Here are the results of our last polling question. We asked, what Of CDOT's three main priority areas discussed tonight, what do you think CDOT's top priorities should be? 47% said fixing our roads. 40% said sustainably increasing transportation choice. We're hearing a lot about that tonight as well. And 13 said advancing transportation safety. We appreciate your input on all four questions. I've got a question for our transportation director. Jessica, I've helped with these before. Why do we need another statewide plan? Haven't we done this process before?
Thanks, Roger. We have done this process many years ago. We do need a transportation plan, and this 2050 statewide transportation plan will be a deliberate, thoughtful, and structured process that will help make the best decisions for Colorado's traveling public. CDOT, in close coordination with a wide range of stakeholders, are planning for future investments so that the best solutions for transportation problems can be identified in the plan.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from Jack next. Jack, go ahead.
Yes, listening to the comments, and I've spent 65 years driving the roads of Colorado and other states, and I've noted a gradual deterioration in the roads in Colorado. We're talking about the highways throughout the state. At the same time, I've noticed millions and millions of dollars being put into wildlife overpasses and bike lanes. I would guess that probably there's 1,000, 2,000 cars that pass along the highway for every bicycle that is used on these expensive bike lanes out in the middle of nowhere. So my question is, there's two-part question. Where truly is the priorities of CDOT? To fix the roads or to provide all these non-essential driving uses? It seems like your priorities are awful mixed up, in my opinion. Secondly, could it be that you're following the United Nations agendas 2021 and 2030 guidelines?
Well, Jack, thank you for your question. I'm going to try and I'm not quite sure I understand the second question, but let me try and tackle the first one. It's an interesting dilemma we have, that we live in a world where there are so many different options that people choose for their transportation options. Now, I've learned since I've been on the commission, we absolutely prioritize fixing the roads and making them safe for everyone. That means, how do we separate all the different forms of transportation options that are available to people? We've got scooters now, we've got bicycles, we've got pedestrians walking, and we've got people continuing to use cars. So we prioritize those, and it means we're trying to separate them so that there isn't contention for the same lanes and the same traffic. So that's part of what we're trying to do, is to continue to do that. It looks messy to people, and a lot of people object to it, but that is the strategy. Now, with respect to animal crossings, we lose, if you look at the data, there's so many instances of accidents where animals and others are involved, and I think we found that when we build crossings, whether they're aerial or whether they're underground, we tend to have fewer safety issues and accidents involving animals. So that's the logic. Hopefully, we may get to a point where more people are using public transit and we don't have so much contention, but that's where we are today.
Commissioner Adams, thank you for that. Before we wrap up, would you take a second to talk about other things that are happening and other accomplishments in the region? We've just got a couple of minutes, but I think folks would appreciate hearing.
Well, thank you, Roger, for giving me this opportunity, and thanks to all of you who've participated today. You know, I know it's been a long hour, but your questions have been great, very thoughtful. So I'd like to just highlight, there's so many things, but I can only take the time to highlight two. But I would like to highlight the I-225 roadway repair project at 2nd and 6th Avenues in Aurora. The project begins construction this summer. It is a much-needed project that will greatly improve safety. The stretch is a cause of concern amongst myself, other politicians, and Aurora Police Department. The work will smooth out the bumps for a smooth transition from bridge to abutments along the stretch of the roadway. CDOT and Aurora are collaborating on I-25 road closure strategies to ensure that the safety of the traveling public and the construction crews make sure to drive safely in the work zones. We don't want to lose anybody. We don't want to lose CDOT employees, and we don't want to lose any more of our citizens. And heed the signs once construction begins. The second thing I'd like to highlight real quickly is the I-70 Piccadilly interchange. The project is a collaboration between CDOT, E-470 Public Highway Authority, and the City of Aurora. The City of Aurora was awarded a $25 million bill grant to deliver the project with substantial completion expected late 2025. The project will improve traffic flow and safety in addition to providing a bicycle and pedestrian-friendly pathway. So those are just two amongst many projects we have, but hopefully that gives you an idea of some of the things we're excited about. And again, thank you for the question.
Commissioner Olguin, do you have some final thoughts before we wrap up?
Thank you, Roger. I would like to again thank all the participants tonight. This has been very helpful and informative discussion. We really appreciate you taking time to provide us with this valuable input and help guide our efforts moving forward. And again, this telephone town hall was all about listening to you and will result in further identifying the unique transportation needs of the area. Again, for more information and to provide further feedback directly to us, please visit our website, yourtransportationplan.com.
And Jessica, any final thoughts before we call it a night?
Thanks, Roger, and thanks for those that joined us this evening and for the questions that you provided. They were really excellent. We've heard several reoccurring themes on this phone call: safety, construction, tolls, wildlife, bicycle and pedestrian connections, and all of those things are really important to the Region 1 team as we plan, design, and construct projects. I do want to remind everyone once again, we're in summer, which means there's a lot of construction all around the Denver metro area and in Arapahoe counties. So please heed the construction speed limits as you approach those zones. And thank you so much for joining us again this evening. Back to you, Roger.
All right, thanks very much. We are sorry if we didn't get to your question tonight. We had a little over 5,000 folks participate tonight, which we really appreciate. You can still leave us a message, question, or comment at the end of this call. Just stay on the line, and you'll be directed to a voicemail system. So if you thought of something else or we didn't get to you, please leave us a message. On behalf of Commissioners Adams and Olguin, Director Mickelbust, and the hardworking public servants of CDOT, thank you for taking part in this event. Please drive safe and have a great evening.